Good morning, students. Today, the topic which we are going to discuss is discussion method. Now, the learning objectives of today's topic are define discussion method means students will be able to define the meaning or the concept of the discussion method. Describe characteristics of discussion method means you will able to define the different characteristics of a discussion method. Discuss type of discussion method, the various types of discussion methods. Identify appropriate use of discussion method. Advantages and disadvantages of discussion method. What are the merits and demerits of the discussion method? Planning for conducting discussion method. What planning should be done if you are going to organize or conduct a discussion method? Now, discussion. The word discuss has been derived from the Latin word and the word that from which it has been derived is called discrete, which means to shake or strike. Thus, discussion refers to thoroughly shaking up the subject, that is, examining it thoroughly to reach a conclusion. Means you have to do a thorough study, thorough examine of that particular subject before you come to a particular conclusion. A discussion is an activity of sitting and talking about a specific subject. Now, discussion is a type of activity where we have to sit and talk about a specific subject or a particular subject. Discussion method. A discussion method is the means by which people share experiences, ideas, and attitude. Is the main means it's a way through which the people share their experiences, their ideas, and attitudes. Discussion method enable to engage in an orderly verbal interchange and to express thoughts on a particular subject. Means you will have to express your thoughts related to a particular or a specific subject. Discussion methods are a variety of form for open-ended, collaborative exchange of ideas among a teacher and student or among students for the purpose of furthering student thinking. It can be done among a teacher and a student or among students themselves for the purpose and the aim for furthering students' thinking that their thinking will develop. Learning, their learning will develop. Problem solving, they will develop the concept of problem solving, how to solve the problem. Understanding, they will understand a concept in a better way. Or literary appreciation. Participants present multiple points of view. They will present different viewpoints related to that particular subject or that particular concept. Respond to the ideas of others and they will respond to the ideas that has been shared by other people and reflect on their own ideas and they will reflect on the ideas which has been shared by them in an effort to build their knowledge and it's all been done so that they will able to share their knowledge understanding an effort will be made so that they will develop their knowledge, their understanding, or interpretation of the matter at hand, and how they are interpreting a particular concept or a subject. Discussion may occur among members of a small group, means discussion can be done among members of a small group or whole class, or it can be done at uh, the level of the whole class are participating in that discussion and be teacher led or student led. It can be a teacher led or it can be where the student is leading the discussion. They frequently involve discussion of a written text. Through discussion can only focus on a problem. Means a discussion can focus on a problem, issue, or topic that has its basis in a text, or it can be a topic which has its basis in a particular text. in the largest sense of the term. Other terms for discussion used for pedagogical purposes, where the discussion will be used for the pedagogical purposes, are instructional conversations. A defining feature of discussion is that students have considerable agency in the construction of knowledge, that they believe in that the students are constructing their own knowledge. Understanding, they will understand that particular concept or interpretation. In other words, they have considerable interpretative authority for evaluating the possibility or validity of participants' response. Discussion method continue. Discussion involve two-way communication between participants. Means when we are talking about discussion, it cannot be a one-way communication. It's a two-way communication. Means discussion can be held between a teacher and a student, between student and students. In the classroom situation, a teacher and students all participates in a discussion. When we are talking about a classroom situation where the discussion has to be held, it has to be held between a teacher and a student, and all the students are participating in that discussion. During discussion, the teacher spend some time listening while the students spend some time talking. Means if a discussion is to be there in a classroom, the teacher spends some time at the time of discussion listening what the students are saying, while at the same time students are spending their time in talking, means they are sharing their ideas. The discussion is therefore a more active learning experience. So we are seeing that discussion is a teaching learning process, is a method where the learning experiences are active, means both teacher and students. Particularly when we are talking about the students are actively involved in the teaching learning process. Active learning experiences for the students than the lecture. Definition: discussion method of teaching is a group activity where the whole class are participating in the discussion. Involves the teacher and the student to define the problem and seek its solution. In the discussion, we are saying that there is the involvement of the teacher as well as the student. They are discussing, they are equally participating so that they are able to define that this is the particular problem and we want to get the solution of that particular problem. Discussion method is also described as a constructive process involving listening, means it's a process where it's involved listening. Thinking means we have to think about the different solutions of a particular problem, as well as the speaking ability of the students. Now, characteristics discussion method means what are the different characteristics of a discussion method. Ensure maximum participation means when we are talking about the lecture method, some students do not respond to the teacher, but when we are talking about the discussion method, means it should ensure that maximum students should participate in that discussion, means maximum opportunity should be given to each and every student so that they can share their ideas or viewpoints. Students have the opportunity to criticize and evaluate, and we have to give the opportunities to the students to criticize and evaluate any particular idea. Logical and meaningful criticism should be accepted. Means the logical and meaningful criticism only will be accepted at the time of discussion. Students should not anchor the discussion themselves. Keeping teachers as guide means teachers should work as a guide. Teachers select the topic only with the help of students. The teacher should select the topic only with the help of the teacher, means there should be the equal participation of the student and teacher when they are selecting the topic for themselves, when they are selecting the topic for the discussion. Now, teacher divide the class into different groups, means the teacher can divide the whole class into different or the small groups and give the topic of the discussion to each group, and he can assign topics, different topics of discussion to different groups. Every group has a leader to anchor and conduct the discussion, and every group should have a leader. That leader should conduct the discussion. Students who have leadership quality should be selected for anchoring, and that student should be selected by the teacher for being a leader. Those who are showing are those who are having the leadership quality. Relevant topic should only be considered, means only relevant topics should be considered for discussion. In the end, teacher draw the conclusion of the discussion with the help of leaders. Now, in the end, the teacher role is to that the teacher will conclude the discussion with the help of the leaders of those particular groups. Now, type of discussion method. Mainly, there are two type of discussion. The first one is spontaneous discussion, and the second one is planned discussion. Now, spontaneous discussion. It generally start from students' question. Means the spontaneous discussion start when the student asks some particular question about some current event, means the teacher will ask, or the discussion will be starts when the teacher asks some question from the student about some current event that may be related to the topic under study, and that question must be related with the topic that the teacher is going to teach the students, and that topic is related to the topic which is going to be studied. Such a discussion is quite helpful to students. Means when we are talking about the spontaneous discussion, this type of discussion is very helpful to the student as it helps them to understand current events to analyze, and they will able to study or they will able to understand that this is the current event, and he or she can evaluate that current event or they can analyze that current event according to the discussion and relate facts to real life situations. In such a discussion, the knowledge of facts is reviewed and an understanding is developed. Now, the second one is planned discussion. Such discussion may be initiated by the teacher. Now, when we are talking about the planned discussion, the initiation has to be taken by the teacher by asking one student to present reports and others to discuss them in detail. In that, a teacher can ask one of the students to present the reports and others to take part in the discussion, and they should give their viewpoints on the basis of the report that has been presented. This technique needs a careful planning. When the teacher is going to use the planned discussion, it has to be done by the teacher in a very careful manner by including pertinent facts to the class and unifying them in the form of conclusion. An extensive list of questions is made by the teacher, and these should be injected into the discussion at appropriate time. Means a lot of questions should be there, and these lot of questions should be prepared by the teacher, and these lot of questions should be injected by the teacher into the discussion at the appropriate time. The teacher should at time emphasize a point and should see that all relevant points are covered during discussion or not. Means it's the duty of the teacher to see all the relevant points should be covered during the discussion. Facilitating effective discussion. Initiating and sustaining a lively, productive discussion are among the most challenging activities for an instructor. Means the discussion should be lively, productive, in that we come to some conclusion. Are among the most challenging activities for an instructor. It's the most challenging activity for a teacher to maintain that discussion in a lively manner, and some productive should be come out after the discussion has been had. Preparing for a discussion, we have to prepare the students for a particular discussion. Plan how you will conduct the discussion. First you have to plan how you will conduct a particular discussion. Although the ideal discussion is spontaneous, we are saying that the ideal discussion is called when that discussion has been held spontaneously and unpredictable, and it's not predictable that the discussion will going to start. You will want to do some careful planning. You should have a clear goal objective for the discussion. Means when the teacher is planning for a discussion, he should have a clear goal and objective for the discussion, that these particular objectives or the goal I want to achieve with this particular discussion. A plan for how you will prepare the students, how you will prepare the student for the particular discussion, and a journal idea about how you will guide the discussion, and a general idea how you will facilitate, how you will guide a particular discussion. Help students prepare for the discussion, and you have to help the students so that they can prepare themselves for the discussion. You can distribute a list of questions for each discussion. Now, you can prepare first, a teacher will prepare a list of questions, and then he can prepare or he can distribute that list of questions that he has prepared to each group for the discussion purposes. Ask students to bring in their own questions, and you can ask the students to bring their own questions. Suggest key concepts, and you have to suggest the key concept that is involved in that discussion, or themes for them to focus on, or different themes, important themes on which you have to focus on, or ask them to collect evidence that clarifies or refutes a particular concept or problem. Discussion will be more satisfying for you and your students if they are prepared. Means you will able to achieve your objectives only when that discussion will be held in a proper manner, and for that a proper planning has to be there. Establish good rules for participation in a discussion. Means we have to prepare some rules. Some rules has to be formed when we are preparing or asking for the participation in a discussion. In order for a discussion to be effective, if we want our discussion to be an effective one, students need to understand the value of actively listening to their peer. Means the student must understand the concept of active listening. Means they should develop or they should understand that a discussion will be effective or purposeful only when they will develop the habit or value of actively listening to what other people or the other members of the group are saying. Tolerating opposing viewpoints, and you have to tolerate other viewpoints also. When you are not satisfied with the viewpoints of others, then also you have to develop in your the feeling of tolerance and being open minded, and you should be open minded that some viewpoints are being expressed by their students with whom you will not be satisfied or you will not be agreed. They also need to recognize the importance of staying focused. Means your uh, focus should be on the point on which the discussion is to be had, and expressive themselves clearly. And you have to express themselves your viewpoints in a clear manner. You might spend the first session with your students exploring the characteristics of effective and ineffective discussion. Now, before starting the discussion with the students, you can or spend a first session with your students exploring the characteristics, that these are the characteristics which will make your discussion to be an effective one, and these things will make your discussion an ineffective one. Clearly communicate how much time you have for questions or discussion and what you are looking for from this time. Now, you have to clearly communicate to the students that this is the particular time for the discussion, and this is the particular time where you can ask the questions related to the topic. Do you ideally expect every student to have a question? Do you think, as a teacher, that every student will have a question related to that particular problem? Are you looking for problem posing, questions of clarification, extensions, applications, or critique? Don't assume that students know what the pedagogical purpose of the discussion is. Means the students do not understand that this is the main purpose, aim, or goal of the discussion. It's you that you have to explain them. This is the purpose of the discussion. And the second one thing is that you must be sure that this is the particular objective that I want to achieve through the discussion. Ask students to state their name before they begin speaking. Means you have to tell the students that first you have to tell your name before you are speaking or expressing your views on the particular topic. Use their name when responding to their question or point. Keep background noise to a minimum. Means minimum interference of noises should be there. One person speaking at a time means person will speak at a particular time is essential if all the students are expected to learn, and it is the essential or the need if everyone wants to listen what the other person is saying. Be ready and willing to work with sign interceptors or card interpreters during questions and discussion periods. Slow down when you are using big words, means you have to say slowly if you are saying a big words or complicated phrases, and spell out key names and urge students to do the same. Starting a discussion. Refer to question you distributed, means the questions that you have distributed among the members of the group. Start the discussion by asking one of the study questions you assign, or by asking group members which of the questions they found most challenging. You can ask the students what are the most challenging questions for them, for for those questions whose answers they find difficulty to get the answers of those questions. Make a list of key points. Identify, find out, and list the important points from the reading, and use these as a starting point for discussion. And you can use these key points as the starting point for the discussion. Use a partner activity. Ask students to come to the discussion with three or four questions prepared. Now you ask the student that you come to the discussion point when by preparing three or four questions, relevant questions related to that topic. Start the discussion by having student pair off and alternate asking and answering their questions. Starting a discussion, use a brainstorming activity. Ask students to contribute ideas related to the discussion topic. Ask students to contribute their ideas related to the topic on which your discussion is going to head. No matter how biased or far fetched, and write all ideas on the board, and you have to prepare a list on the board where you have to write all the ideas that being shared by the students on the board. After a set period of time, or when students have run out of ideas, critically evaluate all the ideas or categorize into different things. Pose an opening question and give students a few minutes to record an answer. You can pose a question, opening questions to the students, and you have to give them few minutes to record that particular answer. The process of writing down their answer will enable students to generate new ideas as well as questions. Will enable students to generate new ideas means they will get the new ideas as well as new questions in your mind after they have finished writing, after they have completed the writing. Ask for volunteers or call on students to share their ideas. You can ask the volunteers or call on different students to share their ideas. This activity also gives quieter students the opportunity to prepare answers they can share with the group. Means those students, those who remain quiet, those who are shy to give the answers. So through this activity, we are giving the opportunities to those students also to prepare their answer and to share their answers with the group members. Divide students into small groups to discuss a specific question or issue. Now, what you can do, you can divide the whole class into small groups. Different small groups can be made, and on those small groups, you can discuss with the students a specific question or issue. Be sure to assign explicit questions and guidelines and give the group a time limit to complete the exercise, and you have to give a specific time period. In that particular time period, you have to complete the exercise. And also ask them to select a recorder and or a reporter who will report back to the entire discussion group. Pose a controversial issue and organize an informal debate. Group the students according to the pros and cons position they take, means the merits and the demerits, advantages or the disadvantages. They take and ask the groups to formulate 2 3 arguments or examples to support their position. And after that, you will ask the group members to formulate 2 3 arguments or examples to support your position in that. Write each group statements on the board and use these as a starting point for discussion. Now, appropriate use of discussion method. Discussion method is used in areas in which students already have some knowledge. Means we should start with the discussion in which students have some knowledge, have some previous knowledge or experiences, knowledge as well experiences in that areas of field. Discussion may be used to develop the main points to be covered in a lesson, and discussion should be held in such a way that it should cover all the main points that has to be taught or learned during the lesson. Student can draw on their experiences to contribute to the discussion. Means the experiences which the student have during the discussion period, uh, the students can share their experiences also, and this will contribute to the discussion. All subjects except mathematics, art, music, dance can be taught. Means all the subjects can be taught through the discussion method except mathematics, art, music, dance. Discussion may also be used, means it can be used, following a lecture or demonstration to help trainees apply what they have learned. Now, advantages of discussion method. Discussion method can develop following abilities among students. Means if the teacher is using the discussion method in the class, then that discussion method will help the teachers to develop the following abilities among the learners. Thinking and communicating power, it will develop the thinking and communicating power of the learners who are participating in the discussion. Leadership quality is develop the leadership quality among the learners. Expression ability. They will learn how to express their ideas. They will learn how to express their viewpoints in front of a group. Problem solving ability means the group discussion help them to seek a solution of the problem. That's why we are saying that it will develop problem solving ability among the learners. Creativity, it will develop their creativity. They will be flexible in accepting the viewpoints. They will not be rigid that this is the only solution of that particular problem. Original ideas will be shared. Motivation and confidence. It will motivate the students and they will become confident. In short, higher cognitive and effective objectives can be released through discussion method. Means if the teacher is using the discussion method in the classroom teaching, means the teacher can able to achieve the higher level cognitive objectives, and at the same time effective objectives can be realized through the discussion method. Now, disadvantages of discussion method. There is a chance that only a few students may dominate the whole discussion. Means it might happen that we are saying that in the discussion every student must participate. We must give every students the opportunities to share, to express their views. But it might happen that in the discussion only a few people or few students will dominate the whole discussion, and uh, n- every student will not get the opportunity to express or give their viewpoints. It is possible that discussion is initiated, means it is started on those aspects of the problem on which particular those aspects of the problem with which few prominent students of the class are concerned, and we can start the discussion with a specific problem with a few prominent students of the class, and after that the whole class will be engaged in the discussion process. It is time consuming. If the teacher wants to teach the students with the discussion method, it's a time consuming process, not adaptable to all the teaching learning situations. Means discussion method cannot be applied to all the teaching learning situation, to the various teaching learning situation. We cannot apply the discussion method if it's not properly guided. If the teacher or the supervisor is not able to guide the discussion in a proper manner, a discussion can degenerate into a consideration of inappropriate topic, adding confusion. Now, if that is not properly guided, then what will happen? The discussion can degenerate into a consideration of inappropriate topics, irrelevant topics that are not related with the topic which we are going to discuss, adding confusion and uh, add, adding of inappropriate, irrelevant ideas into the discussion. It will add confusion rather than clarification to the lesson. Means we are not able to clarify the problems of the students. We are not able to give a clear verdict that this can be the source of removing or solving the problem, but it will add confusion among the learners if we incorporated inappropriate topics and irrelevant topics among the discussion. Now, planning for discussion method. Discussion session can be led by the instructor. It can lead by the instructor, or can take place in groups, or it can be taken place in the groups. In either case, the goal is to meet the lesson objective by allowing the students to. Whether the discussion was led by the instructor or the teacher or by the student. In both the cases, we want to meet the learning objectives. Relate relevant personal experiences or events which had occurred in the working settings. Contribute ideas or personal opinion. You have to share your ideas and personal opinion related to that topic. Apply what has been learned, and now you have to apply what you have learned to familiar situations or solving problems. Uh, Familiar situations or to solve the particular problem. Express what had been learned, and you have to express what had been learned by you. Whether the discussion is instructor led or take place in group, it must be guided by the instructor. Means the role of the instructor is very important. It must focus on the objective of the lesson. Means the discussion should be kept on the objective of the lesson. That's why the role of the instructor is very important. It is the instructor's responsibility to see that the objectives are met, and it is the wholesome responsibility of the instructor to see whether the objectives have been achieved or not. So, today, students, we have discussed the concept of discussion method. Then, we have discussed about the merits and the demerits of that, purpose of using discussion method in the teaching, and the role and responsibility of the teacher when the teacher is teaching with the discussion method. Different characteristics of discussion method. For further reading on this particular topics, you can refer these references. Now let us discuss some MCQs, as MCQs are the best method of the way to judge how much has been learned or what how much knowledge has been gained by the particular individual or the learner. The word discuss has been derived from the dash language, from which we have derived the word discuss, from which language it has been derived. Now the options are A Latin, B American, C German, or it's D Indian. So the correct answer is option A, that it's a Latin language. So the word discuss has been derived from the Latin language. A dash is an activity of sitting and talking about a specific subject. What do we call an activity in which the subject is just sitting and talking about a specific particular topic? Now the options are A discussion, B lecture, C role play, D panel. So the correct answer is option A, that is discussion. Third, generally starts from student question about some current event that may be related to the topic under study, which is related with the current event. A. Spontaneous discussion, B. Planned discussion, C. Activity, or it's D. Play. So, student, these are the options. Now, you have to select the correct one on the basis of the given choices, and the correct answer is option A, that is spontaneous discussion. A dash method is the means by which people share experiences, ideas, and attitude. What do we call that idea? And that method is the way by which people share, express ideas, and attitude. Now the options are A discussion method, B panel method, C play method, or it's D activity method. So students, these are the options. Now you have to select the correct one on the basis of the given choices, and the correct answer is option A, that it's a discussion method is the means by which people share their experiences, ideas, and attitude. Now the fifth one, dash methods enable to engage in an orderly verbal interchange and an express thought on a particular subject. Now the options are A. Discussion, B. Lecture, C. Demonstration, or D. Role play. So the correct answer is option A. That is a discussion method. Now the sixth one, discussion may be initiated by the teacher, means it can be started by the teacher by asking one student to present reports and others to discuss them in detail. By asking one student to present the report related to that and others to discuss in detail. Now, options are A. Planned board, C. Panel, C. Activity, or it's D. Aims. So the correct answer will be option A. That is a plan. So planned discussion may be start by the teacher, and in that we have to ask one student to present report. He will present the report and ask other student to discuss them in detail. Who stated that? Initiating and sustaining a lively, productive discussion are among the most challenging activities for an instructor. Means who has given this definition? Now the options are A. Davis, B. Jackson, C. Bacon, or H. D. Alexander. So the correct answer is option A. That is Davis. Now, eighth one, a defining feature of Dash is that students have considerable agency in the construction of knowledge, understanding, and interpretation. Now, students, you have to give the answers on the basis of the given choice, and the correct answer is option A, that is a discussion. Discussion must be focused on the objectives of the lesson. A. Objectives, B. Planning, C. Predictive, or D. Teaching. So the correct answer is option A, that is objective. Involving the teacher and the students to define the problem and seek it dash through discussion. Means both teacher and the students are involved in that teaching learning process, and both are involved to define the problem, that this is the particular problem, and seek its dash throughout discussion and seeks to dash what throughout the discussion process. Now the options are A. Solution, B. Teaching, C. Aims, or it's the goal. Now the correct answer will be option A, that is solution, that is involving the teacher and the students in the discussion group, and they will able to define the problem and seek the solution through its discussion. Now, thank you, students. With this particular narration, you have understood the concept of discussion method. And the discussion method is that method that in which students are actively participated in the teaching learning process. They are not just passive listeners as they are in lecture method. Then we have discussed about the different characteristics of that. Then we have come what are the purposes and what are the objectives of conducting a discussion method among the learner, and what are the things that the teacher should keep in mind before he started to plan that particular topic to be learned by the discussion method. The first, the teacher has to from the standard, that what will be the standard on which I will going to do that particular discussion or not. Discussion should be on the relevant topic, the current topic, and discussion can be in a planned manner. And if it's a planned manner, then everything has to be fixed before. Then after that, we have discussed about the merits and demerits of learning or teaching through the discussion method, and why that method is important. So we can say that it can be important because the students will able to find out the correct answer. They will able to identify the problems which they are having, and the finding out the solutions of those particular problems. Now, this is the particular important of the discussion method. The teacher should work as a guide. The teacher can distribute the students into small group and a teacher has to prepare some questions related to that topic, and the teacher can distribute those questions among the students so that the discussion has to be held in a smooth manner. And the thing is that this discussion will be done in the smooth manner only when the teacher will give the opportunities. Every member of this learner is able to get those opportunities, so maximum opportunities should be given by that. And it's a better method, but one of the disadvantages that all the teaching methods cannot be teach through the discussion method, as it's a time consuming method. Thank you, students. Thank you so much for your patience listening.